He's playing Fairy Tale, and I have gotten myself a Fairy Tale expert at hand.
It is my main deck at the moment, and I'm checking out his list, and it's some very exciting, interesting techs here. If anything, it seems to have some invoked cards, to my understanding.
Yeah.
It's also... It looks almost like a hard-going second list with some of the potential cards we have involved here as well. We have something like Harpy Feather Duster in the main deck, which is really interesting.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff, that's definitely true. Now I have to ask you a question, Charles.
Go ahead.
So, before we start digging into how the Fairy Tale deck works, I and many other people thought that Fairy Tale Snow, after it came back from the Forbidden and Limited list, was going to cause a bigger kerfuffle.
I think the fear around Snow was based entirely around the Telements strategy, and decks that utilize cards like Grassnuts Greener and whatnot that can send a lot of cards from the deck to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Because even in those decks, Snow's kind of a brick that you don't particularly want to draw. We do see the Molchame Fawala has been activated from Giovanni here as the regular Prince of Endymion reveals Zoroa from hand, summoning itself, causing Colin to take 1,200 points of damage, I believe, as it's conditioned to summon. It can then search for the Empire of Endymion, which you can activate to search another Prince of Endymion. It's essentially just a free rank, 2 level 4s in the field of spellcasters.
Okay, that's sick. So we could see in the hand of Colin that I think he had a Called by the Grave in hand and he let the Fuwalas resolve. Why is that?
You can go for... You can't go perhaps...
I lied.
Oh, you can't see... you can give up just, you can set up like an Omni-Negate, a Book of Moon type effect with the Snow, and maybe like a bounce with the Luna with this deck, by only giving like 2 draws. So it's not that bad into Full Loss, to be fair. It's actually far more impactful if you use Purili on it. We do see the normal summon of the Zoroa here, very powerful card in and of itself. Use the Effect Veiler on that Zoroa, not wanting that to resolve. The Effect of Zoroa lets it to equip a Magistus monster from the Esh deck to itself. It can then special summon a level 4 spellcaster from the hand or graveyard in defense with effects negated. But we do see the Wiccat being activated here, detaching to, which lets you send 2 Fairy Tale named cards from the deck to the graveyard. We see a second Effect Veiler here coming down from Giovanni, stopping the Fairy Tale Wiccat. That is where you'll want to use it.
Alright, why is the Fairy Tale Wiccat so important for the strategy? And also, go with us through what this deck even does.
So, it does a lot, is the thing. So you can build the deck in a few different ways. It does a lot in Genesis as well. The Fairy Tale cards in and of themselves can be very powerful. Quite low to the ground, control-y strategy, whereas you can also play this version of the deck, which seems to be a lot more focused on combo and more like sealing to your strategies and whatnot. The Wiccat's important. Being able to send 2 cards from the deck to the graveyard is always good in any strategy. That's just fantastic. But you send usually the Equip spell and the Quick Play spell, or maybe the Match Giru. All of these things can come back from the graveyard, so it's essentially a search too as well. This is very powerful. That being said, it in the graveyard is not bad because it can target one of your lighter Fairy Tale monsters to tag out. We do see the effect of the Zoroa, the Magistus Conflagrant Calamity, being activated, trying to equip itself with a Magistus monster from the graveyard, which would allow it a Monster Negate, but it is now being contested by that Fedrola Harmonia.
The Calamity is the Synchro monster. This one is...
Oh, the
Thragna.
You are right. I was wrong. I'll go now.
Please stay. Please stay. Need someone to go through the Fairy Tale combos with me. Now, how tough is double Effect Veiler, Fuvalos, and Harmonia? Is there a hand that even plays through this?
I think it's a Fuvalos in hand here, which is... You know what? Yeah, there is. Because he's drawn the Equip spell. So you can summon the... no, I don't think you can do that. Oh, no, he can. So the... normally you wouldn't be able to special summon these second Regulus. However, you can because the continuous spell and your opponent has a monster on the field. So now we have the Spenter using the effect to equip the Regulus with the Artemis, which lets you search for a Magistus monster from your main deck as well when you have that on the field. And then with the Equip spell in hand, that is the Spellcaster Fusion you can use from Fairy Tale. So, still in the game here. I'm not 100% sure what the aim will be to summon here, but you can still keep playing here at the very least.
So that is the equip spell, as you said, and he tries to activate it.
Fusing from hand, interesting. I think that's another drawer. And oh, of course, there's the Yugioh, the Confounder, a very powerful new card, TCG exclusive. It is a spellcaster monster plus a non-spellcaster as material, and the equip spell can be used confused for any spellcaster monsters.
And Yugioh is a card that all the Germans love now because it brought Yannick Ackermann to the World Championships yesterday as our only so far Worlds participant from Europe, from Germany. And yeah, that is a great super polymerization target into a specific field. Okay, that is an interesting start with the Fallen and the Virtuous, because I think you can use Yugioh here,
Yugioh is main phase only, unfortunately. So that will, I believe you can protect it with the, I don't think it's Prince, I think it is the Empire Redeeming effect lets you protect it by sending the Prince to the graveyard instead, which makes sense because Yugioh is definitely the more impactful thing to keep on the field here.
And of course, Yugioh also allows you to fuse from the graveyard. Right?
It's a Miracle Fusion, more or less. One of my favorite things you can do with this deck. This is not necessarily good, but you can summon, for example, Alchemic Magician, which is 3 level 4 spellcasters, so this deck is all that. That lets you search Super Polymerization, and then you can make this, and then make Quintet Magician during the opponent's turn. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with this card.
But I think we're going to see the Hyper-Invoked Aeon now.
I believe we are. That makes a lot of sense.
I think that is already pretty much a last resort play, because JJ Cool Tune plus Harmonia would be full combo for the Cool Tune deck. He's already used quite a bunch of cards, and I think at this point Colin just needs to hope this his opponent semi-bricked, basically, because of course if there is another normal summon of a Cool Tune monster, you are going to be cooked. But the cards in the graveyard for Colin, how much play is there still? Because he has amassed quite some resources, but how good are they from the graveyard?
I don't believe we saw the Snow hit the graveyard, and that's going to be the main concern here, because the Snow is very good into Cool Tune matchup. You can just Book of Moon, whatever they summon, they can't synchro with it, it's done. You can then use Wicat to send the Snow back to the graveyard, and then resummon the Snow. So you can cycle Snow a few times, and there we see, unfortunately, Colin scooping up his cards. It does make sense. That was so many interactions from Giovanni there.
Fualos into double effect Veiler plus Harmonia, then still being able to put up a decent amount of interruption, even through a Fallen and the Virtuous. But then, of course, if your opponent has multiple pushes, that is basically a custom hand. I mean, the hand was also adjusted by the Fualos because it gave basically 3 draws, right? So
yeah, absolutely. It's a real shame. Like I say, I think Colin did a fantastic job there, doing his best to play through all the myriad of interruptions that Giovanni threw his way. But sometimes he just doesn't enough, and it's unfortunate. But we see him, the siding here as well. I believe I saw the pot of Sloth. I think that was in the side deck, if I'm not mistaken, which would make sense considering. But again, it's a fairly going second gear deck already, so interesting.
I think this card, if you have good engine to play going second, just makes it better.
Oh yeah.
This card is just not, it's not extra breakers, it's not a possible break, because this card lets you play or lets you find your breakers. I think Pot of Sloth is the perfect side deck card. And it is interesting to me because usually your side deck slots are reserved for cards that you really need in specific matchups, right? You need something like a Super Poly or a specific breaker. Some decks only lose to 1 hand trap and then you have to play that hand trap. But with Pot of Sloth, the card is so incredibly good that you're actually giving up 3 extra deck spaces just for utility. When was that relevant the last time?
Exactly. Well, I mean, being able to essentially customize your hand as well, that is very powerful. But I do think that it has a lot more relevance in this particular format because it is so good into Cool Tunes specifically. It's kind of good into everything. It's worth picking up these cards just because they're great. But into Cool Tunes specifically, so powerful because you can just basically say, actually, you don't know what my hand is.
They have to throw their first negate at it.
Yeah, this is it. You either have to do that, it's either a 1-for-1 interaction, or you have a kind of that sort of advantage that you know, or at the very least you make Cool Tune lose their advantage, I should say.
And if you can stop them from getting an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which is not the most likely thing when you're siding Pot of Sloth, because sometimes some side deck cards go out for it. I think that Pot of Sloth... I lost my track of thought, but it trades for 1.5 interruptions, right? Because if you are getting it negated by Zalen, then your opponent will have to have activated another card.
pretty good hand for Colin here. The Fairy Tale Luna is, in and of itself, it's a one-card combo, gets you a lot of interactions, but we do also see the hard-drawn copy of the Secret Village and Spellcasters, as well as a Super Poly as well. There's a lot going on in Colin's hand here.
That is big, but how good is it versus a drawn Blackbird?
It can do stuff. It depends on the hand still. That was the correct thing to add to hand to play through Droll, because if you were to send Matchgiru, or rather add Matchgiru rather, Matchgiru can summon itself in the same way that Genia can, in that it's just a free special summon here essentially. However, it kind of limits what you're able to do after that. So you add Genia here, you attach to once Giovanni comes down. Giovanni clearly knowing the sort of choke points of this deck, and Wicat is definitely one of them. Stopping the opponent from sending those cards, accessing their Fairy Tale engine is very powerful.
Now another effect failure. Giovanni is throwing the hand traps around like it's nothing but... Oh, Ash Blossom on the Triple Tactics Thrust. That is actually very necessary.
Absolutely. I guess we sit on the floodgate and hope for the best. That is the activation of the Secret Village Spellcasters, the Super Polymerization set, and the Wicket on the field, which you can use. So it's not nothing. This is still not nothing. It's just a very unfortunate sort of no, you can't play.
Yeah. Clip is being summoned here, and I mean, if you're playing Super Polymerization in that deck, I would assume that you're also on a Monster of Theseus.
You'd imagine so, yeah.
So I think knowing the hand of his opponent, I would say just slam it.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's interesting because Secret Village is such a good card. I don't know how well it works into Cool Tune unless they specifically have only opened with their Quick Play spell or their Synchro Overtake or whatnot. But their monsters all do a very good job of playing around that sort of thing, and Rico can get rid of it straight away.
He said yes to the activation of Rekko. Now there is one more window in which he could just Super Polymerizate here, and that is after Resolution. Otherwise the priority passes over to Giovanni, and then he could just Synchro Summon with Rekko and Rotary to get rid of the Secret Village of those funky Spellcasters. However, you have a Spellcaster on the field. If you make Mixuza here, I don't think it helps you, no?
You make Mixuza, you have a Fairy Tale monster in the graveyard, you can then use Mixuza to make the Teller, which is the Omni-Negate.
Oh, okay, that works.
So that's why we do see that coming down. Oh, those are 2 bricks in the hand, and that is unfortunate. But we are removing just the one of them. We want to put
Put Rekko away.
Yeah, there's Mixuza, and now again, open game state, you go for Mixuza, fusing into, I think it is going to be the... Oh wait, no, it could be anything here, truthfully.
Honestly, Teller doesn't do that much. I think you just need to get rid of the clip, because if you're going into an Omni-Negate here, unless it negates a summon, then... Does Teller negate a summon?
It does not, unfortunately. It can't be destroyed by battle, which is nice. I guess at this point, you're just trying to... Omni-Negates are good. It's just good to have something on the field here.
But then I think you're absolutely getting cooked at this point, because Clip and Rotary are going to make a Track Maker. Clip is going to be Chain Link 3. Usually you want to avoid that. However, in this scenario... Oh, there's no card in hand for Colin, so no Rotary search, but Track Maker is able to search. And then afterwards, you are going to be able to use the Track Maker into monster that you search, because Track Maker does not search spells. It searches a KEWL Tune card.
This is true. However, you've already used both normal summons at this point, unless you get... So, actually, I don't think Colin's in a terrible position here.
Trackmaker can actually search for a Rekko as well. You make a Zalen, and then Zalen just watches the field spell get popped, and then you still have 2 spell cards in hand, which possibly can play.
This is true.
So I think we have used Rotary Effect to shuffle something back, or does it put under the deck? I think it puts under the deck.
I believe it. You know what? I don't remember. I don't know. We do see the reveal of the Forbidden Crown and the different Mentor Ground on the top of the deck, which is very unfortunate here. I don't think there's enough in Colin's graveyard to be able to play properly into the next turn here. So knowing that there's just nothing on the top of the deck is difficult.
And since the Rotary took away one of the cards that could play, we are searching for Mix. That is also a good out. It can't be destroyed by battle, right? So if you're just taking Mix and this and go into Loudness War, I think you're pretty much fine, because the Secret Village of the Spellcasters only locks the opponent out if you have a Spellcaster monster on the field. If the Teller... But Teller can negate effects, right?
Teller can negative Vex, it can, but again, you got to sort of you can chain block here at this point. And
oh yeah,
can,
true, you have Trackmaker.
Exactly, yeah. Either way, there's two ways of removing Teller from the field at this point.
Yep, and Teller is gone. Secret Village goes back to hand because of the Trackmaker. Now Giovanni with a JJ cool tune and a synchro overtake forces the handshake in less than 15 minutes.
Goodness me, that is unfortunate. Again, to be fair, I think Colin did such a good job here. I think he did his best. Although he was hit with so many hand interactions every time he played there, he still ended on, considering that, quite impressive field of not nothing, you know? It's difficult to not end on nothing when you're dealing with that, and he didn't. He did a good job, I think.
But absolutely custom hands.
Yeah, very much so.
Giovanni there, and honestly, if Colin had played the Monster of Theseus, it would have been a completely different story, right? He could have just taken the two monsters on the field away and then hope for no spells in the graveyard. Well, of course, Yugioh plus or going into the Teller also does sound kind of nice, but only taking away one of the monsters versus Cool Tune. That's really not how you do it.
It's difficult. It's a difficult situation there. Again, there wasn't a lot of material in the graveyard from Yugioh to deal with there. That was the main issue, I think. There wasn't really enough to... we didn't access the Magistus engine there at all, and that would have been potentially very useful and very helpful. I don't think Yugioh only has to summon spellcaster. Maybe I'm wrong. I think maybe it does have to summon spellcaster monsters. But either way, it's a great card. Might not be enough, though.
Yep. So Giovanni wins the round 3 featured magic with a whopping 2-0 under 15 minutes. Might as well be a record here. Congratulations to him, and we are going back to a break. But of course, right now, the main stream still has the featured match on, of course, with the fantastic